number 10, Rihanna. Rihanna might seem like a nice, happy-go-lucky person who's always going hard for her fans, but it turns out that she actually has a little bit of a dark side. I guess you could say that she's savage, like Savage X Fenty. No? Alright. It seems like on a few occasions, she's been quite mean to her fans. She's no stranger to shoving a phone out of her face when approached by a fan, and she's been known to yell at paparazzi and fans when they get a little too close for comfort. On some more unpleasant occasions, she's been filmed smacking a fan on the head with a microphone. During one of her concerts in England in 2013, the singer whacked a fan with her mic because they had reached their hand out to her. Look at that. And in another savage incident, Rihanna mocked a 16-year-old fan online for having recreated one of her red carpet looks for prom, where she called her out on Twitter and made fun of her look, calling it expectation versus reality, and posting a side-by-side comparison. Not the nicest person in the industry, that's for sure. At number 9, Ezra Miller. This one was a little shocking, but it turns out that Ezra Miller might not be as nice of a guy as we think. You may have seen in the intro a video of Ezra Miller choking and slamming a woman to the ground. This video, when it first hit the internet, was thought to have been a joke, but it really wasn't. This happened during an altercation at a bar in Iceland when a group of fans approached the actor and things got out of hand. Bystanders of the incident described the group as being very pushy, and it seemed like this was what triggered Ezra's violent reaction. Things escalated and he lost his temper, leading to the physical altercation. Some say that alcohol may have contributed to the incident, but the bottom line is that Ezra's outburst was not cute, and it really surprised a lot of fans. Just before I continue on with the video, I'd like to ask you guys to maybe consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far. We love getting your positive feedback, and your likes really help us out too, so please go ahead and show us some love by smashing that like button. At number 8, Jennifer Lopez. This probably doesn't come as a shock to many, but it turns out that J-Lo isn't a very nice person. Some say that she's a real diva, and others say that she's just rude. Apparently, the singer/actress is very picky about who may or may not speak to her, and for those permitted to address her, they're not allowed to make eye contact with her. There are even reports that she sometimes flat out refuses to comply with scripts. This has happened on a few occasions, most notably during a filming for a Fiat commercial where they needed to hire a double for Jennifer simply because she just didn't want to do certain things for the shoot. She doesn't have a good reputation with a lot of people she's worked with either. She is said to have completely ignored the people who were remodeling her house. She's gotten a cleaning lady fired for having asked for an autograph, and she even refuses to talk to in-flight staff and pilots on flights and instructs her assistant to talk to them for her. And even though her staff do so much for her, including communicating for her, they don't get paid very much for their time. J-Lo just gives off bad vibes, so I think maybe it's best to steer clear of her whenever possible. At number 7, Jesse James. Jesse James is an American entrepreneur, TV personality, and Sandra Bullock's ex-husband. Jesse is known in the media for his extramarital affairs, as he's known to have cheated on Sandra Bullock when they were together, and most recently we found out that he cheated on his now ex-wife Alexis DeJoria with at least 20 women. Leaked DMs and other images exposed Jesse for his affairs, but this isn't the first time that a photo has gotten him in trouble. The West Coast Choppers founder was also accused of being someone who supports the ideals similar to those of the World War II German government in 2004 after a photo was leaked which showed him posing like the fascist German leader. I think you know what I'm talking about. Jesse clearly has problems respecting people on different fronts, and he definitely is not a nice person. At number 6, Ellen DeGeneres. I think this one's a little obvious because it's Ellen. We've done a lot of videos on Ellen. Ellen has been exposed as one of the meanest people in Hollywood. Even though she was all about kindness and spreading good vibes on her show, it seems like Ellen's angel persona on TV was quite the opposite in real life. Many staff members, as well as other people who've been on the show with her and have worked with her in the past, have started coming forward to talk about Ellen's mean streak in Hollywood. It turns out that there are some workplace horrors afoot over on the Ellen show set, with people claiming that you're not allowed to look Ellen in the eye, and those who approach her are often spoken to rudely or even face racial biases. Also, there seems to be some kind of drama with the toilets on set. I guess people's butts are very prestigious or something. There have been reports of Ellen getting people in trouble for having chipped nail polish, for giving away fan mail, and apparently there's a rumor that Ellen picks one member of staff to be mean to every day. Lovely person, isn't she? At number 5, Vanessa Hudgens. When you think about Vanessa Hudgens, most people would picture her in High School Musical. For years, she carried around that Disney vibe, but after learning about her dark side, you may change your thoughts about her. Basically, Vanessa often lets her jealousy get the best of her, and oftentimes this leads to people getting their feelings hurt. Take, for example, this one time when a fan approached Vanessa's ex, Zac Efron. The couple were out shopping at a department store when a young fan went up to Zac to tell him how much she loved him. She was apparently super nervous and stumbling over her words, and so instead of being an understanding and respectful person, Vanessa instead started making fun of the young fan. She started laughing at the poor girl and humiliated her in front of her celebrity crush. The other shoppers were shocked at Vanessa's behavior, but this apparently wasn't a new thing since Vanessa had reportedly told sources that she found fans to be obnoxious. Fans aren't the only ones to feel her wrath either, and she was rumored to have bullied Selena Gomez as well on a few occasions. At number 4, Lea Michele. Lea Michele is another celebrity who's been exposed for her mean streak this year. Following a Twitter exposure from former Glee co-star Samantha Ware, Lea has now been described as, quote, callous, rude, mean, and even a diva. But Samantha's exposure of the Broadway star isn't the only testimony that has come forward recounting her mean streak. There have been stories of Lea's microaggressions, but also stories of her spitting in craft service food, refusing to work with people because they didn't know her middle name, requesting reshoots because she didn't like her costume, disrespecting other castmates, and having crew members apologize on her behalf, and just so many other frustrating tidbits that just really show how rude and entitled she's known to be. At number 3, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You may know Neil deGrasse Tyson for being a Pluto hater, or for his time on TV having guest spots on The Big Bang Theory, and for hosting the show Cosmos, but after today, you may know him for being a bad guy. First off, let's talk about his tweeting habits. People know him for his obnoxious opinions on sci-fi movies, as he likes to pick them apart for their scientific inaccuracies on Twitter, but he's also angered people for being insensitive. In 2019, after the US experienced a pair of mass shootings in Texas and Ohio, Tyson took to Twitter seemingly defending the gun violence, saying that more people have died for medical reasons or from accidents in those 2 days than from the shootings. He faced backlash for this tone-deaf tweet, but he's also faced backlash in the past for more serious issues. Other than his offensive tweets, he's also been accused of assault and harassment in the past. 3 women have come forward to accuse the scientist of assaulting them, and one of these women claims that Neil gave her a substance and had non-consensual relations with her, though he ended up writing this incident off as false memory. I was shocked to hear about Neil, and I'm sure I'm definitely not the only one who didn't know about this. At number 2, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal seems to be this super great guy who's given back to his community, donated to all these charities, and has done a lot of work to benefit a lot of people. I mean, the guy has a whole foundation in his name, so this one might be a little controversial, but this was news to me, so I thought I'd share it with the class. There was an incident in 2014 when Shaq mocked the appearance of a man named Jamal Binion. Jamal suffers from a rare genetic condition which has resulted in some facial deformities. It seems like Shaq saw a picture of him online and recreated the image himself, posing his face to look like that of Jamal. Well, he didn't think it was very funny, and even though Shaq apologized, it wasn't enough, and so he issued a lawsuit against the basketball star, as well as 2 other people who mocked his condition for $25,000 in damages. The lawsuit claimed that the image was shared to nearly 10 million people around the world, so this public mocking was grounds for seeking damages. Shaq may not be a mean guy all of the time, but this instance sure did open a lot of people's eyes to the NBA star's actions. And finally at number 1, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey isn't the nicest person ever. She's had run-ins with the paparazzi which have not gone over well. She's had some bad relationships with others, and she's known to be something of a diva. But this takes the cake. There was a lawsuit from one of Mariah's former assistants which claimed that the singer peed on her, ridiculed her body, and then called her some pretty rude names. Her former assistant said that she was hired by the singer to be on call 24/7 and assisted both Mariah and her manager. Though she was paid a salary of $250,000 a year, this wage just couldn't cover up the alleged abuse sustained by Mariah. But her case wasn't the only one up against the singer at the time. While this case was being disputed, Mariah had just settled one with her former manager which cited breach of contract, harassment, and unpaid wages. It seems like though she pays her people well, she doesn't treat them as well as she should. At number 10, Catherine Zeta-Jones. According to people who've worked with or lived near, actress Catherine Zeta-Jones is one of those celebrities you do not want to run into. People have had some less than kind reviews about their encounters with the actress, and it's surprising. Apparently, Catherine has a very entitled attitude, expecting to be catered to her every whim, and refuses to tip you for your assistance. One person even shared a story about how she was living in a condo when visiting a different city and demanded that the other tenants be banned from using the facility's gym while she was there. As one would expect, this request did not go over well with the rest of the tenants. She also has a reputation of being harsh and cold with fans. Once, when an 8-year-old fan of hers approached her saying that she wanted to become an actress just like Catherine, the actress reportedly just looked the girl up and down and told her, quote, "You're pretty enough, I suppose," and then just walked away. Clearly, Catherine has some things to learn about being nice to others. At number 9, Russell Crowe. Actor Russell Crowe is able to command an audience while performing and captivate them with his talent, but that seems to be about the extent of his pleasant connection with others, since he's reportedly a very mean person. There have been a number of reports detailing his violent outbursts, from yelling at people like fans and co-workers to fighting with his bodyguards. At one point, he was even rude to a large group of people while on an Irish talk show where he was performing a Johnny Cash song. The audience tried clapping along to the song but couldn't keep in time, and this made Russell mad, and he told them to shut up. Russell has also had a violent outburst with hotel staff in 2005 where he threw a phone at one of its employees, resulting in him getting charged with felony assault. And to top it all off, he even had some harsh words for his fellow actors, calling George Clooney, Harrison Ford, and Robert De Niro sellouts. At number 8, Jon Hamm. Some have pointed out that Jon Hamm's Mad Men character, Don Draper, is played a little bit too well. The mean and arrogant character seems to share a number of similarities to Jon's own personality, according to some, which sort of makes the two of them mold into one uber mean guy. According to Kathy Griffin, of all people, Jon Hamm is a rude guy, and she exposed him in her book Celebrity Run-Ins: My A to Z Index. In her book, Kathy recounts her unpleasant encounter with Jon at a dinner party. Jon apparently questioned why Kathy was at the event in the first place, and then later on he approached her again, clearly intoxicated, while she was talking to Jack Nicholson, and whispered in her ear saying, quote, "You know your Emmy isn't a real Emmy, and you're so old." That's exactly how it was spelled. Old. Yeah, sure, he's in the Skip the Dishes commercials, but frankly, I'd like to skip him. At number 7, Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire might look like the fun and lovable Peter Parker on screen, but unfortunately, that's far from who he really is. Turns out that Tobey is really just a Hollywood jerk, and fame really just drove him to being that way. He started off as a pretty humble guy, but after the Spider-Man films brought him so much fame and success, it consumed him. Towards the end of his Spider-Man days, Tobey had something of an attitude problem, where we saw him harassing people at a poker game, even going so far as to tell a woman to bark like a seal for $1,000. He also racked up a hefty production cost for the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man film because he needed doctors on site at all times to deal with his bad back, and he was only able to walk a certain amount of steps in a scene before needing to quit. Those who worked with him often called his attitude inappropriate, and he's really just been badmouthed by a lot of people he's worked with over the years, so he really doesn't seem like that much of a nice guy. At number 6, Ben Stiller. Though many people know him as this super funny guy, behind closed doors, it seems as though he's quite the opposite. People who know or have worked with Ben in the past have exposed some of his mean behavior, and it's pretty shocking. According to those who worked with him on the set of Tropic Thunder, he was very controlling and mean to just about everyone. He reportedly had a meltdown on set when his Diet Coke didn't have exactly 2 ice cubes in it, and he even had someone fired because they didn't put enough sugar in his coffee. Ben even forced his assistant to stand out in the parking lot in his designated parking space, even though it already had a sign saying that it was reserved. Ben also freaked out on a female assistant that he had and refused to come back to set until she was replaced by a male assistant. Being an assistant to the stars can often pay well, but I don't think you could ever pay me enough to endure Ben Stiller's treatment of others. At number 5, Terrence Howard. Empire actor Terrence Howard has a reputation for being difficult. He was dropped by the Iron Man franchise over failed contract negotiations and for being difficult to work with on set. This is far from the only reason why he's on this list. Terrence also has a reputation for harming women and others on many occasions. In 2000, the actor was arrested for assaulting a flight attendant, but those charges were later dropped. 1 year later, he was arrested again for getting into a heated argument with his ex-wife, which led to him driving to her house, kicking down the door, and physically harming her, to which he pleaded guilty. In 2005, he was involved in another violent encounter as he allegedly punched 2 people, and in 2010, less than a week after their wedding, Terrence began mistreating his wife, physically harming her and threatening her life. 2 years later, he was involved in another fight with one of his mistresses, where he physically assaulted her as well. Other than the fact that these violent incidents have happened so many times, the fact that he's also gone out of his way to blame these incidents on the victims on multiple occasions also says something about his attitude. At number 4, Cuba Gooding Jr. There is a lot that could be said about Cuba Gooding Jr. Firstly, it looks as though Cuba has quite a short temper. Once at a bar in New Orleans, some fans approached him asking for a photo, and instead of politely declining, he started yelling and swearing at those who asked for anything from him. Naturally, this caused a scene, but when the bartender asked him to leave, he responded by shoving her against a wall. Yeah. Lovely. This isn't the only time he's laid his hands on a woman though, because along with a bad temper, Cuba also has a record of having inappropriate or unwanted actions with women. His alleged victims have come forward accusing the actor of things from unwanted touching to making inappropriate remarks and creating uncomfortable environments by displaying unwanted flirtatious advances. Cuba has actually faced a number of lawsuits regarding his inappropriate behavior around women, and a number of women have come forward to share their unwanted encounters with him. Obviously, I can't go into detail about the things he's been accused of for YouTube reasons, but if you really want to know, it's on the internet for you to read. Bottom line, this guy is not nice at all. At number 3, Amber Heard. I couldn't make this mean celebrity list without including Amber. That's like watching a Marvel movie and leaving before the end credits. You just don't do that. I'm sure that we all know who Amber Heard is by now, and if not, where have you been? Amber and Johnny have been the media's it story this past year, and we've learned so much. If you've seen my recent video where I gave you the top 10 worst Amber Heard moments, then it's no surprise to you that she is a horrible person, but if not, let me recap some of her highlights. She's gotten into a fight with her sister, she's been recorded confessing to hitting Johnny Depp, she's pretended to have been a victim of a violent crime, she's smuggled her dogs into Australia, pretended not to have known about the laws there, and tried to get her assistant to commit perjury. She's responsible for Johnny's severed finger, and she's supposedly planted stories in the media to deliberately shift the focus from Johnny to her. Because of all of these things that have come out about the actress, there's just so many people from around the world who just really hate her. There have been petitions to have her removed from certain movies, and she's lost a lot of respect from fans and some Hollywood people as well. So yeah, she definitely belongs on this list. At number 2, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan had her Hollywood fall from grace, and even though we still talk about her, she doesn't hold the same notoriety as she once did. There are a lot of factors that play into that, but one of those being her reputation of rubbing people the wrong way. There are people who say that she's entitled because she gained fame at such a young age, so she expects everyone to bow down to her in a way. She's also been called a liar after lying to police on multiple occasions, and Paris Hilton even called her a pathological liar after Lindsay claimed to have handled Whitney Houston's body bag while volunteering at a morgue. On top of that, she's apparently a nightmare to work with because she damages sets and steals props and has a reputation for holding up production. She's known to berate her assistants for the littlest things, and she's known to manipulate people into getting her own way. There are a number of people who have horror stories about Lindsay making her out to be less than kind. At number 1, Shia LaBeouf. There is a lot to talk about when it comes to Shia LaBeouf. He is definitely a mean person because of the things that he's been accused of, including abuse, racism, and ableism. Shia was criticized for his behavior at the 2020 Oscars because he was being impatient with his co-presenter Zach Gottsagen. Zach became the first person with Down syndrome to present at the Academy Awards, and Shia was seen getting tense and rushing Zach along with his presentation, which was seen as offensive and ableist. On top of that, Shia has been accused of racism after footage showed him going on a racist rant towards a black police officer when he was arrested in 2017. And most recently, Shia has been facing backlash for allegedly abusing his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs, as she filed a lawsuit against him detailing some of the things that she endured while with him. Shia has a history of hurting others in many different ways, but the bottom line is that he's just not a nice guy. At number 10, Kim Kardashian. Kim K is definitely no stranger to scandal. It seems like every few weeks she's in the news about something, and her fans, haters, and news sources alike are talking about her latest scandal, either defending or scrutinizing her for it. Though she's faced backlash for political drama and for taking vacations during the pandemic, one of her longest standing dramas is her cultural appropriation. Many of the things Kim posts or advertises gets called out for cultural appropriation. Back when she first launched her shapewear line Skims, she faced backlash for its original name being kimono, as it was seen as offensive to the Japanese community. She's also been called out for appropriating black culture as well because of the hairstyles that she's worn and for blackfishing. Kim has been seen wearing cornrows and posing with darkened tans on multiple occasions, which has angered many people. She, as well as many other members of her family, have been called out for these kinds of actions, and the fact that this keeps happening kind of says a lot about them. At number 9, Drake Bell. I think most people know about Drake Bell from his time on Nickelodeon, specifically for his role in the show Drake and Josh. Drake Bell was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods, but his past actions may surprise you. In August 2020, Drake was accused of mistreating his ex-girlfriend Melissa Lingefeld after she took to TikTok to make a video detailing her experiences with the actor. Melissa told fans on TikTok that during her relationship with Drake, which lasted from August 2006 to February 2009, she endured physical and verbal mistreatment from her partner. The pair started dating when Melissa was 16, and after a year of dating, she claimed that the quote, worst type of verbal mistreatment you could ever imagine began. She then detailed some of the physical mistreatment that she endured as well. She also brought to light some of the messages that suggested other inappropriate relationships that Drake has had in the past. Drake denied these allegations, but support and praise for telling her story was still given to Melissa regardless. Before I carry on with this list, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider leaving a like on this video if you are enjoying it so far. It really helps the channel out, and we love seeing your support as well. At number 8, Bruce Willis. Actor Bruce Willis has had a great career making great movies and basking in fame, but it seems as though he's not all that great in real life. Though his films are often very successful, it all comes at a price that those who worked alongside him have had to pay. Apparently, Bruce is a nightmare to work with, as he's gotten into some conflicts with others on set, and people just really hate working with him. Before Die Hard launched his film career, he was brought into stardom after working on the show Moonlighting alongside his co-star Sybil Shepherd. In 2005, Shepherd told sources that there came a point where her relationship with Bruce became volatile and they clashed a lot on set. There was reportedly constant bickering, and it was just a toxic environment. But Sybil isn't the only one to have clashed with Bruce while working together. Filmmaker Kevin Smith has also had his troubles with working with Bruce while filming the 2010 film Cop Out. He told sources that though he said that Bruce was his hero in past productions, that opinion completely went out the window after saying that working with Bruce was very difficult. When talking about their time together on set, he turned out to be the unhappiest, most bitter, and meanest emo B-word I've ever met at any job I've held down, and mind you, I've worked at Domino's Pizza. What an awful experience, end quote. Maybe Bruce just isn't all he's cracked up to be. At number 7, Carrie Underwood. This one was a little surprising to me, but according to those who've encountered Carrie Underwood, she's not as nice as you'd think. Apparently, Carrie is sometimes known to be quite rude and arrogant. Carrie is reportedly rude to other celebrities and often snaps at them, expecting utter perfection or nothing at all. She once told Leighton Meester to quote, get out there and not F it up at an award show, and when someone spoke up about that kind of attitude, Carrie just replied saying, quote, she'll get over it. Carrie has also admitted to being less than hospitable towards fans and even being selfish and closed off around them. There have even been reports of Carrie being a song stealer. A singer-songwriter sued Carrie, the NFL, and NBC for having allegedly stolen a song that she had written in 2016, saying that they plagiarized it and were using it to introduce Sunday Night Football. The suit was later dropped, but it still left people wondering if that's all she's allegedly stolen. At number 6, Naomi Campbell. Supermodel Naomi Campbell has been in the fashion industry for over 30 years, and over this time she's had her fair share of scandals and feuds, most notably her feud with fellow model Tyra Banks, who's painted Naomi as the industry's mean girl. Though this feud has shown that Tyra is actually meaner than Naomi, and we've covered her mean streak in one of our other parts of this series, that doesn't mean that Naomi is off the hook, as she's known to have violent outbursts. Naomi has been accused of being violent on 11 occasions and has been convicted of assault 4 times. Some of the reported violent incidents include the model physically harming her assistant, grabbing her by the throat and beating her with a phone, harming another assistant and allegedly holding her hostage, throwing her phone at a housekeeper, and other accounts of emotional and physical distress. Naomi is known for having a temper and for getting into conflicts in the past, but still tries to make amends for those actions. Halfway through at number 5, Christian Bale. Christian Bale's temper is really something to behold. I really wanted to include a clip of one of his outbursts, but there was so much swearing that no one has time to bleep all of that. After his outbursts on set, from crew members upsetting him to fans getting him riled up, Hollywood has begun to paint the actor as someone with serious anger issues. In one instance, according to Christian's former assistant, he once wanted to kill a fan. Fans seem to really upset the actor on multiple occasions, so apparently once Christian received a fan letter at home, he said that the fan should be eliminated. He described wanting to thrust a screwdriver through the fan's eye and into their brain to the part that prevents screaming. I'll let that one sit there for a second. On another occasion, Christian went on a 4-minute swear word-ridden tirade where he really chewed out a crew member from the set of Terminator Salvation. That one I have no quotes for, because if I repeated any of those words, this video would be flagged, and just trust me when I say Christian Bale is one mean SOB. At number 4, Dan Schneider. If you watched Nickelodeon in the late 90s and early 2000s, you may be familiar with Dan Schneider. Schneider was the creator of hit shows like The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, and iCarly, and was a longtime partner with Nickelodeon, so it came as a surprise to many after it was announced that the company would be cutting ties with Dan and his production company. Being such an abrupt decision, many were left wondering what happened, and as a result, allegations of misconduct started to come to light. Since his departure from the company, allegations of mistreatment came out, as well as allegations of manipulating actors and suggestive behavior as well. Though these allegations have been denied by Dan, some former stars have subtly advised fans to not support Dan or his past shows. Actress Alexa Nicholas, known for her role in Zoe 101, made a series of posts about Dan after allegations against him came out, where she told people to not watch his shows, saying that he is not a good guy. If there's one thing we know, it's that Hollywood is scarily good at brushing misconducts under the rug, so perhaps he is a monster, but for now, it's just unconfirmed. At number 3, Alec Baldwin. Actor Alec Baldwin is yet another celebrity who's rubbed people the wrong way because of his short temper. He's gotten in trouble over the years for being verbally and physically aggressive, which caused him to have a mean streak in Hollywood. One of his earliest scandals happened in 1995, where he was placed under a citizen's arrest after punching a cameraman in the face, breaking his nose. The altercation happened because a photographer was trying to take a picture of his new daughter, so I guess his parental instincts just got the best of him. But if this aggression was just a one-off, that would be one thing, but unfortunately this isn't the case with Alec. Later on in 2007, he was in the news again for berating his daughter on the phone, calling her a selfish little pig, among other harsh things, after he got frustrated that she didn't pick up his calls. And he was kicked off of an American Airlines flight in 2011 after being aggressive after he was told to turn his phone off on the plane. There are a number of other stories of Alec getting aggressive, so I think it's safe to say that he's got a mean streak. At number 2, Hilary Duff. Hilary Duff is seemingly one of the former Disney stars who was able to walk away from the company unscathed for the most part, but over the years it seems as though she's traded her goody Disney image for a mean girl attitude. While her character Lizzie McGuire stood up to being mean, Hilary clearly did not keep that in mind when she put her neighbor on blast in 2018. The actress took to her Instagram to rant about her neighbor, talking about the noise and the smell that she's endured while living near them, but instead of keeping their name out of things, she put it out there. Multiple times. On several Instagram stories, Hilary posted her neighbor's first and last name as she continued to berate them and call them names. Doing this actually violated Instagram's community guidelines, and some of the posts were taken down as a result. I mean, anybody can rant about whatever, as we've seen on the internet multiple times, but posting their name to millions of followers who are also able to find this person and berate them more is definitely going too far and definitely grants you a mean status. And finally, at number 1, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson is known for his alt-metal music and unique style, but now he's also known as someone who hurts others. Actress Evan Rachel Wood came out to name the singer as the one who's hurt her, accusing him of manipulating and brainwashing her from a young age. The actress posted a testimony to her Instagram calling Manson as well as the industry out for his actions and for enabling him all this time. In the past, Evan Rachel Wood has spoken out about the fact that she was in a toxic relationship and has detailed some of the horrific things that she's experienced, but she's never named the one who mistreated her until now. In a published testimony, she said, quote, "He broke me down through means of starvation, sleep deprivation, and threats against my life. sometimes with things which would result in me having severe panic attacks where I was unable to breathe or stop shaking. She also said that she had her phone tapped and had threats made against her loved ones. Other women have also come forward to detail their encounters with the singer and the things that they've experienced as well. Manson has since been dropped by his label and booking agent after these allegations came to light.